Welcome back to tonight's live special. Dr. Anthony Fauci has done more than maybe any other American official to promote long-term nationwide quarantines, the lockdowns that are destroying our economy. Fauci suggested that handshakes should go away forever. He told Congress that reopening schools next fall might be a bad idea. But then today, Fauci seemed to wobble. Here's what he said in an interview with CNBC.
We can't stay locked down for such a considerable period of time that you might do irreparable damage and have unintended consequences, including consequences for health.
Oh, irreparable damage, unintended consequences. It might have been nice to hear a little bit more of that months ago when it actually mattered, back when doctors were being kicked off of YouTube for saying exactly the same thing. Barstool Sports President Dave Portnoy noticed and had these thoughts.
This is my whole point. Fauci, I just did a rant that went viral literally last week because you're like, if we open up the country, everyone's going to die. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said. Now, I put a little heat on him and people are like, we got to open, we're going to die if we stay inside. Now he's just, the wind blows and he's like, okay, no, we can't stay in forever. It causes irreparable damage if we stay. What is it, Fauci? Pick a side, or at least say you don't know what the you're talking about. If nobody knows anything, then what the are we doing?
Dave Portnoy has been locked indoors for a couple of months in New York City. He joins us tonight by Skype. Nicely put, Dave. So you're sitting at home, you're monitoring this, you've got a special interest because you are quarantined yourself. What did you make of what Fauci said?
Well, I mean, I was taken off guard. And first of all, I did escape to Nantucket. That's why I didn't have the suit and the ties to the team Portnoy. But, you know, I thought I was taking crazy pills for a second. I really did. And listen, I don't mean to pile on Fauci, but we're making very important decisions based on what he's saying. And I think it's okay to say, I really don't know, guys. But I get the feeling if you ask him this question, or what's 1 + 1 equal, you're going to get 7 different answers. It's okay to say you don't know. That's kind of my point. I don't think anybody really knows the true answers. It's a moving target. It's a disease we've never met with before. But that's why I think at this point, you got to let people, individuals, make decisions for themselves, because nobody knows. The only thing, as I said before, that we absolutely know for certain is if you continue the quarantine, you continue the lockdown, tons of people are going to lose their livelihoods. Those people should have the choice to make a decision rather than depend on things that, listen, Fauci may be the nicest guy in the world, but he said, wear masks, don't wear masks. He said, you know, the lockdown's going to go on indefinitely. We're going to end the lockdown. So it's just tough to really put that much stake in what he's saying when I just don't think he knows. Maybe Trump just got him in a room and shook him. He's like, today you say this. So I don't know. But it's tough to take it seriously when you literally say the exact opposite. And we're not talking months. We're talking days apart. What changed?
So, look, I think your point about not really knowing what the truth is an absolutely fair and important one. And I've certainly been wrong on this show a bunch of different times. But I admit it because I know that people have YouTube and they can check. Fauci comes on and acts like he's always been saying this when 2 days ago he was saying the opposite. Shouldn't he at least acknowledge the change?
Absolutely. And, you know, any politician or anybody in general, I would much prefer somebody. First of all, I have no problem saying, guess what? I don't know. I'd rather that.
Right.
But if you have a strong opinion, say it. And if you're wrong, then say, hey, hand up. I'm the first one. I like to break my arm when I make a mistake. And you know what? American people, they appreciate that. They want to know when you're wrong. I invested in a Chinese company. You probably hate me for it. Baba, it tanked today. There was a revolution. Guess what? I made the wrong move. You have to just say it, own up to it. No one's expecting any human being to be perfect. But when you say a very important statement and act like it never happened and say something different, it raises, you know, everyone's like, what is he doing? I don't know that he's doing it intentionally, but either take a side or say, I don't know, and acknowledge when you make a mistake. That's how you get trust, because right now, I don't trust what he says. I don't know how anybody could. And again, I don't know if it's intentional. I just honestly think this thing moves. And if you go, I mean, there's videos of Fauci all through this. He's on different sides, depending on the day, depending on the mood. Like I said, the way the wind blows. And we're making seemingly life-changing decisions for other people based on facts that clearly are not facts.
Well, exactly. So yesterday, Fauci did an interview with Julia Roberts, not the journalist, but the actress. Did that make you trust him more or less?
I mean, there's an element that you'd want your lead doctor in pandemic not going with a Hollywood starlet, but it doesn't. You know, he's got a believable face. Listen, if you put him in front of me and I didn't know all the mismatched stuff, I'd be like, I trust him. He looks smart. But I'm paying attention to the words. I wouldn't say talking to Julia Roberts. Listen, I like Pretty Woman as much as the next guy, so I'm not going to hold that against them.
I totally agree about the way he looks. When I see Fauci on TV with the sound off, I think, I believe that guy. And he does come off as a nice person. We've interviewed him on this show. It's nothing personal. But I think people have listened so long because he looks like the guy you would listen to. Very smart.
He absolutely looks like an expert. And to be honest, in every single question or speech, he sounds like an expert. Like if they're all one-offs, I'd be like, okay, I'll listen and I'll believe. But now there's enough footage. Everyone's locked inside and they're hanging on what he says. Like when he goes in front of the Senate and says, if we open too quickly, there's going to be mass damage and death. Those are heavy, heavy words to then go say the exact opposite in a week later. It's almost the gravity of what he says in the moment. It's almost like he's losing it. He's going to be very careful with the words because, again, what he says, I feel like, is what a lot of states are basing their reopening on. And it changes. So exactly right. What information, what model, it's always a moving target. And what we got to remember is, again, I don't think anyone really knows the answer, but it's tough then to tell a business owner, hey, you're going to lose your business because what a Fauci said. And the guy's like, well, at what point, when, what yardstick are we using or what day are we using what Fauci said?
I think at this point I trust Julia Roberts more. Dave Portnoy, great to see you.
She's very believable. She's a very believable American. That's the team Portnoy. At least stand for something and then admit when you're wrong. But Julia Roberts, very, very believable.
Very. Good to see you, man.